Yep.
Even our parties could be back open.
Well, there's
That's
so
where
many
we are.
opportunities for fundraising that doesn't increase taxes, that, you know, again, the problem will be what you're experiencing a bit here, which is like, there'll be neighboring community seniors that wanna participate in our programming, and then, you know, we run into space, which was another problem that we saw last go around. with
Starting
early
December, it's gonna
registration.
be you guys first, right, Michelle?
Right.
Yeah, but then if we were over there too, that would help out the children that have their little, camping program too.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, how much would that help? They could be back in that room.
Yeah.
Instead of over in the gym when it's too hot or whatever. It would help them out.
No,
I
well
mean,
said.
it would help everybody out. It would open that room up for them.
Absolutely.
I mean, it would put us where we wanna be, and it would
Yeah.
help you guys out, you have more room for them. And
No,
you
you're
can have your
100%,
little
yeah.
Head Start program you want here. I mean, it would be such a win-win.
Absolutely.
If we could do that, so, anyway, okay.
What's our
I'm
next
done.
agenda item, Michelle?
Yeah.
So the next item is actually hearing from individuals who want
All right, I'm done.
to do some, current solutions and then future improvements. So I'm thinking to divide these in two different sections is, one is more immediate needs, if you see something immediately that you've heard that's a problem, or you individually need a change, or you want to bring to the board's attention so that they understand what's going on in the senior world. Separate, let's let everyone have a chance to do that. Separate from that, if you're dreaming of something and this would be great, or you have a programming idea or something future beyond what we can, you know, try to change in the next couple months, let's do that second. So first would be immediate improvements or, notes that you would like them to be aware of, or all of us to be aware of. I don't, do you wanna start with us, cause I know you didn't have a chance last week to do too much, so if you wanna start us off in this category, that would be great.
Well, I had sent David, about silver sneakers.
Yeah, I actually had an update for you on that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's the time, but I wanted to, like, before we left, I was gonna share with you what I uncovered with, Silver Sneakers.
Okay,
So-
because, and I guess the second half, and I'm not sure if that's too future, is for the people that do pay for classes.
Yeah.
The silver sneakers hopefully would help somehow, so that, you know, as our benefit, you know, for insurance.
You want me to just, Michelle, is it okay? I'll just give her the update.
Yeah.
So-
Only if it relates.
Yeah, no, it's specific to Silver
Go right
Sneakers.
ahead, yep.
Are you familiar with Silver
I am,
Sneakers?
yeah.
So, in order to be a participant, somebody from the township has to register our organization, and then they'll evaluate whether or not our programming meets Silver Sneakers. And for those of you that are not familiar with Silver Sneakers, it is a program that participants access through their various Medicaid, Medicare programs. Totally different Medicaid, Medicare, through the various, you're on. Through the Medicare program, you can participate in a Silver Sneakers authorized gym, or we have, I think, 3. The Anchor Bay Aquatic Center is a Silver Sneaker. I believe Champion Health Club is a Silver Sneaker, and there's a yoga studio.
Yeah, Planet Fitness.
Yeah, so if you, and I understood that the participants could utilize multiple Silver Sneaker events. You're not, if you're at Planet Fitness, you could still utilize programming. I will need help once I get the response back from the, I submitted as much as I could as a trustee. I don't have, and there wasn't a lot required on the initial. So what I wanted to do was sit down with Michelle and find out who from the Silver Sneakers organization could, you know, the biggest challenge, you know, and I was mindful when I volunteered the mat idea, realizing you didn't have staff to roll it out, is you also have to have some staff that could sit down with the Silver Sneakers enrollment team to go over your pricing. So how the gym or charges, but I know that it's not necessarily just down to a monthly fee. So like at Planet Fitness, whatever their monthly rate is, we don't have that. Like, you're charged by the class. So from the representative that I spoke to at Silver Sneakers, they said, well, like, somebody from your Parks and Rec team would have to sit down with us, and when we get to that stage, I'll engage Michelle. But from the programming standpoint, it's very, very doable. It's just like billing at a doctor's office, you know, because it is Medicare, basically monies. But the list of providers that associate with Silver Sneakers was pretty immense. There
It
were
is.
probably about 15 different healthcare, insurance companies that had a Silver Sneakers component. And they all operate the same way under the parameters of Silver Sneakers, and the other thing I wasn't sure about, and I won't know until we get a little deeper in, if we're a Silver Sneaker provider, what extra work is there on part of the billing? Would that fall on the township to bill and so forth? So I needed to really investigate that, because your dues or your tuition for the class would be basically compensated if we were a Silver Sneaker provider. How that's done, I'm not
And the
entirely sure.
instructors come in here and instruct? Or
So it's like,
what-
yeah, so like what would happen is like Silver Sneakers is I think they have something like, in Michigan, maybe 14,000 different partnerships with gyms, yoga studios, and it's open to Medicare recipients. And then, there's a number of different private healthcares that fall under the Medicare umbrella. But from the website in my discussion, like
But if we
90%.
provided the facility and just said,
Yeah,
hey.
so like in essence, we're a gym or a studio, and I asked specifically about, is it all privately owned gyms, or no, we have a lot of municipalities and cities that become Silver Sneaker providers. So what would happen is if I'm a Medicare recipient and I'm enrolled in the Silver Sneaker, I could come in and whatever the tuition is for a class, I don't know, how long are our classes, like, no, not the individual, but like, 3 months
They're
or?
monthly,
Oh.
if they're,
Is that
if they're
something that
paid
you,
programs or months.
is
So
that
they're
something
month-
you can take on though, rather than have him do it?
No, I'm just gathering the information, I'm trying to streamline it, and then I'm gonna hand it off to her, because it will require, no, I
No,
won't do that to you, I won't dump it
understand.
on you. I'm just
Well,
trying
that's
to.
great to hear, so when I
I'm
first
trying to do the
started.
legwork on it, and then what I would like to do is get into a place where I don't have enough information to know, like, is it $80 for a class, and how
Yeah.
long is the class? But it might be a situation, and again, I'll do the legwork on it and give you like options, but it might be better to have somebody who is a Silver Sneaker participant enroll for whatever classes that they might wanna be involved with through like the winter season or the spring season, and then the Silver Sneaker program would work with the Medicare provider to cover the tuition. Instead of doing it like every month, if you signed up for a season, so maybe our programming could be tailored towards Silver Sneaker members. So like if you are a Silver Sneaker participant, and then you would have to go on as a participant and register, and then you have an ID number. You have,
Yeah, we already do. Yep.
so if you're a Silver Sneaker participant somewhere else, you already know.
Yep.
And then you would just put in the participant, or the provider, where you were taking the gym membership, or the class, or the yoga, whatever. The partner has to be a certified Silver Sneaker provider as well. So I'm gonna find out. I submitted a request for an account representative to call me back, and I explained to the representative that I'm not in charge of the Parks and Rec program, but that I work very closely, and then, so they're like, great. And when we get the information, I'll get it to Michelle, and hopefully it's something we can get in place soon, because it's a great opportunity for our community. We have a lot of Silver Sneaker participants, they just go other places, they don't.
It's great to hear that they've expanded, because I actually looked into it maybe 5 or 6 years ago at this point,
Yeah.
and it was an immediate shutdown. They said, there's too many in the area, no.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's good that they've expanded their program and that they're accepting new spaces now.
Well, I think the
We've looked
key,
into it before, because it was an interest of people who were.
I think the
setting up
key,
programs,
Michelle, is
but
that,
That's great to hear.
I think the
Yeah.
key to the expansion was more insurance carriers got on board.
Perfect.
So
Okay,
they were
good.
able to process, like,
Good.
if you're a Medicare recipient, your healthcare provider might not be the same as somebody else's, so
Mm-hmm.
Silver Sneakers was kind of locked out depending on how many insurance carriers they brought on board.
Awesome.
More insurance carriers, it looked like to me like there were 24 different big time, Blue Cross, Aetna, HAP, all of them
It's a lot.
are now participating.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you
Good idea.
register, they would register through their insurance carrier. Once you get your participant ID number, then you go to any participating Silver
Yeah,
Sneaker,
just show
and
them.
your tuition or expense is covered.
Yeah. yeah, we'll work on that.
Yeah, I just don't know how the
And I'm
billing
sure
works,
we
but we'll
would
get it.
We would be willing to register for the whole semesters,
Mhm.
cause we pay monthly, cause it kinda costs a lot, $6
Yeah,
a
yeah.
class, and 2 days a week, and, you know, it's like, okay, I'll pay this, you know. So
Mhm.
then, I'm sure people would be willing to.
And Karen, I
register
think
for
it would
a
be
whole month.
easier, I think it would be easier for us if we structured our billing to be more friendly to the silver sneaker enrollee, so that you could register for a whole course of, you know,
Well, I
on
think,
at
yeah,
once.
I think they would gladly
Oh,
say,
absolutely.
because the other issue is, we pay this money, we go on vacation, we can't
Yeah,
go to
Yeah.
class, so sometimes we work things out with the instructor to help us there. But, the other option, and this isn't silver sneakers, but related to that, is they talk about punch cards. And
Mhm.
maybe you can just pay for 10 classes, and when you're done going to them, then you pay more, instead of paying for these classes that we're missing, you know,
Yeah.
cause I have a cottage, I miss it every
Yeah.
Fridays, so if I sign up for drumming, then there goes my
Right.
money,
Right.
and silver sneakers.
as soon as I get the information back, I'm gonna sit down with Michelle and, like,
Well, I
whatever
appreciate
point
you
you're
looking
comfortable,
into
I'll just,
Yeah.
you know,
And then
but
I'll-
I wanted to
I'll
do the
tell you.
legwork and investigate it, and, we're off to a good start, and we'll find out what the next step is, but it looks very doable. It looks very, very doable, so thanks for the suggestion.
Sounds good.
And I think I'll let someone else have something to say.
I'm good, I just wanna know if we're going back. That's why I'm
Okay,
here.
we talked about that for an hour.
You know, we'll start off every
Aerobics
meeting, we'll start
and
off,
the dance.
maybe we can start off every meeting with just a 30-second, like, affirmation,
Still
we're
over
going
there.
back, you know, like our pledge of allegiance, we are going back,
Well,
and that's how we
that's
set
what
the
they come
meeting.
to me.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good, that's good.
Okay, I have something that I've heard, from many seniors. I worked 9 out of 11 days for voting. I thought I retired. But anyways, and my phone blew up, my text blew up, and it's more of a scheduling issue. When early voting comes in, we know we're closed for 9 days. The edict that came down originally was all programming is closed for 9 days. People weren't happy, but we understood. Then as early voting went on, cards were here, then there was chair yoga was here, and they moved the kids out of the gym for an hour so they could participate in chair yoga. And it went on and on and on, and people were understanding that everything was here except aerobics and dance. And what happened
2
is,
weeks.
what happened was, it really sent a bad message. The Zumba and the aerobics felt they weren't valued, they weren't respected, because why do, you know, if you say all, you mean all.
Yeah.
And it came down to 2 classes. And if we accommodate for, nothing against chair yoga, I think it's
No, I
great,
understand.
but if we move the kids out of the gym for an hour, why couldn't they have done it for us? So I only bring it up because my phone blew up. And I think, you know, optics matter, right? I mean, we're all seniors, we all participate, and somebody said, well, it was because chair yoga pays money. Well, that's true, but cards doesn't. So if you were to walk in here for early voting, the building was full, which is great. I mean, there's a lot of activities and I'm all for it, but I think the optics were, we don't matter.
Yeah.
There's 50 people in those 2 classes, they don't matter. And we're turning around and doing it again October 25th. So
Yeah.
what happens then? You know, is everybody else participating and we're not? So I only bring it up because again, everything blew up and I think it's a fair conversation. So when you, in the calendar, you said all programming canceled, but it wasn't. And I think,
So
They kind
I'll
of-
throw my 2 cents in. What happened was, unfortunately, as in how you were informed that you were moving over here, the messaging and the intent of what that message is, please read between what I'm telling you.
got it?
It unfortunately gets mixed into politics.
It does.
Unbeknownst to me and Michelle, certain decisions were made without our input or without checking with us. And that message got out pretty quick. Michelle immediately told me, and I said, absolutely not. Now, on the back side, there were legitimate requirements that you couldn't have people around, and we got that. Had we had properly known what the plan was prior to, we would have accommodated everything. My goal, and I know Michelle, we didn't speak about, we offer a program, the program's on. And that's the way it should go. Now, other messages get mixed in there, and without, unbeknownst to certain people that should be making the decisions, it was changed.
Yep.
I don't appreciate it, much like your group, I don't, and they're absolutely right. You don't pick and choose what you do. Michelle has a program, she has a program guide, she emails me, I'm being told I gotta vacate, I'm gonna say absolutely not. We did make some accommodations to satisfy what that rule was, but it didn't need to disrupt the whole plan.
And again, you know, I don't say it as a negative, I'm just trying to say, we're gonna do this again in October, let's be proactive. You know, our group, and I will tell you, and different groups watch every day, they met every day, whatever it was, because it's family, you know, we enjoy it, but it became that optics where you matter, you don't, and we're gonna turn around and do this, and they're all like, we're gonna do this again in October.
Yeah.
So I think we need to just figure out, and I know the kids won't be here, which makes a big difference, but I think we have to be proactive for the next early voting. That's all.
I hear you, I think Michelle and I are on the same page, we will try and make that happen. There's just sometimes forces that occur that
And
throw
we
us
get
a
it, but
curveball, but you're spot on, we shouldn't be interrupting. And we have the space, to accommodate change, so.
We did it in the
And I
parking
tried
lot.
to-
Well, it's good to hear
That
that's
message is
that's
absolutely
the-
spot on.
Right,
And I
it's
tried
good to
to-
hear that that's how it was received, certainly not
And that's-
intended that way.
And I
And
tried
that's
to
how it works.
pacify people by saying they didn't want to refund all of our monies
Correct.
that we paid in advance. So that's why you accommodated us, but I don't know about cards, what
Well,
happened
it
in
was-
the other
yeah.
places.
Yeah, so-
That was my rationale. They didn't
And
want
again,
to give us
it's just-
our money back, so they're
It's
gonna find a place.
feedback, you ask for feedback, I share it,
Yeah, I
and let's be proactive for October.
Definitely. Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, we'll do the parking lot. It's fine.
That's
We
what
did
everybody
it.
said.
Okay, no problem.
Perfect. We'll put it in the backyard.
No, I mean, they asked that,
We
yeah,
had
they
was-
said, can we go outside?
Yeah.
We had discussions.
And it
Well, I
was
had-
80 degrees.
Thank you.
I just needed to share.
The other thing that happened with early voting is there was a lot of unknowns in terms of how many people would show up. And I am asking, and we have people in the room tonight that are gonna be asking, let's know what early voting staffing should be and what we need to be spending. Because when I came to vote, there were like 4 staff members for every voter. And so, you know, like if you have a lot of staff, those are all being paid for by the township. And then if the expectation is that you need major amounts of staff and major space to accommodate crowds that don't exist, and in order to accommodate the crowds, you shut down programming,
Right.
that's not good. And we can't do that.
Well, like I said, I worked 90% of the early voting. I
Yeah.
literally was the only chair here, and I ran the early voting here
Yeah.
as a volunteer. And then I worked the election. Early voting, we averaged probably 25 people a day, which isn't a lot.
Yeah.
And when we got down to 5 or 6 people to staff it, it was perfect. Now, the day of the election, we had 12 people to work per 3 precincts. We had 36 workers. I had people sitting doing they were way overstaffed.
Yeah.
So that's the piece of it, but early voting, we had 5 or 6 people, we cranked it out.
When I came in to vote on election day,
It was,
I swear to you, Lisa, there
Okay.
was 12 people that handled my transaction from the time I walked in. I filled
I-
out the slip, 3 people looked at it, then it was handed over, then my license was swiped, and
They all
2
got
other
paid.
people looked at it, they said,
They
It
get a
was-
ballot,
yeah.
3 people gave you the ballot.
And they were racing to tear the tab off to feed it into the tablet, because they were just bored, you
Wait,
know?
we had, I will tell you, we had way too many people,
Yeah.
I get it, and people, I heard that from more, not to get into elections, but I heard that from more and more people,
Yeah.
that, why do I have so many stations, and why are these people standing around? So that's the
It's
piece.
not just the staff, I'm just saying that they go hand in glove with the space.
Oh,
So if you're projecting that turnout to, you know, require that much staff, if we're also doing the projections on space and we're shutting down a 60,000 square foot building, like, it doesn't make sense to me. But unfortunately, there are some things that contribute to your job of trying to weed out what's true and what isn't true, because they all have a nefarious, there are so many people out there that can't wait to put an ugly spin on it, and it all goes back to, oh, I hope you like it over at the community center, because you're never going back.
yeah.
Right, and that's just not really fair. It's really not fair, and unfortunately, hopefully, some of it subsides, now that the general is really determined now, in terms of the 3 full-time positions, there's no more. So hopefully can be some coming together, and we don't have collateral damage, which is people getting misinformation intentionally, like, we can kind of focus on some things that are solution-based and not problem. I had a conversation with Brad on my way here, and I looked and had email that people were told that this was like a secluded place, you know, that we were violating the Open Meetings Act by even being here. You know, this group came together to do exactly what we did last month and this month. We don't make any decisions here. There's no deliberation of expenditures. They all gotta go to the board meeting, and they all have to be part of a public hearing, but I think it's valuable. I think it's very, very valuable, and if we need to do something to comply with Open Meetings Act, or anybody that wants to, know what's going on here and we'll do it. Because we have to maintain some level of real communication between our board and the people that are coming to you with, like, hey, what's going on here? We have to have something more than just your staff who are, working hard just to keep up with programming. It's not a reasonable expectation to think that the township Parks and Rec staff are gonna be able to solve all these problems while they're trying to accommodate day-to-day operations. We have to do more from the board, and that's why we're here. If we don't get paid for here, I don't know if you've heard that rumor too. We're here on our own
Yeah,
side.
we already got paid a lot of money.
Yeah, we don't get a nickel for
Oh, I
our
know.
board stipends or anything like that, to be here tonight, or last month, or any of the work that we've done in between the meetings.
Well, I think this is great because I get a lot of angry people that come up to me,
We all do.
really angry.
We all do.
And they'll
Everybody's
tell me
angry,
this,
I don't know why.
They'll tell me that, and then sometimes I think, well, gosh, I wonder if this is true.
Yeah, no, I
And
don't
then I'll
blame
say,
you. I
well, I'm
understand.
coming to you after the meeting and I want an answer, so
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you know?
You know what works for me is a lot of people say that Joseph is always smiling. He always looks happy, and he never looks bothered by, just try to let a smile be on your umbrella, I guess. you know?
Yeah, just
I know.
smile.
And I guess.
Lisa, you've heard that rumor about me being very
I have.
smiley? Yeah, thank you.
Well, they tell me,
I like
I'm gonna
that.
come back to you for an answer, and they do.
Yeah,
They come,
They
as
do.
soon as they see me, they go, oh, there you are, and I see them and I go, I turn the other
Oh,
way,
yeah,
but
they
they
do.
find me and I'll say,
Let me
okay,
go get my
I
notes.
have an answer for you, and they want an answer,
Yeah.
so that's why I come here, because they want an answer.
Barb, did you have something you wanted to bring
No,
up?
the only thing that's got me boggled is the $60,000.
Oh, wow.
Well,
I mean, I can't.
I got a note and I text Carol Rose,
Because
so
I've
I will
got a
have an
cookie
answer
for
for
an
Michelle.
accountant, and you gotta put that money somewhere. And if you couldn't go to the township, there, to
yeah,
me,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Trying to get everybody there.
But I would like to get back on track and try
to
to,
find it.
well, I would like to try to expand that room. I think that would solve so many of our problems, to get us back where we wanna be, give us a bigger room. We could even have our parties back there, we can still use this,
Yeah.
but it'd be nice to get back there. where most of the people want.
This being a satellite, this being the supplemental to our home, you know, that's the target. I think that every conversation that I've had with any of my colleagues on the board, this is not the permanent home of the senior center. In fact, Michelle corrected me because I was interchanging community center and senior center, and she said, I want to be very clear. The senior center is down a little bit further
Right.
south, I'm sure. This is the community center
Right.
that temporarily houses the senior program. So it's a big
That's what
distinction.
we tell.
And that is from the top of the organization, all of the employees, it's a distinction that is hammered home because this is not your permanent place. So don't get too attached. Tell them that.
I have one thing though that this is goofy, but when I come over here and exercise, maybe you could put this on your list to do something about that outhouse that's up there. It's all cockeyed, now the door's open and.
Yep, we have a call into Cormac to come.
Okay, great. Because every day we're exercising, and when are they gonna fix that outhouse? I don't even know
If you
what
go
that
out
is.
here,
Yes,
if you go
we're
out here down the
exercising.
drive,
It's like
I had it-
Georgia.
yeah, they put it there for the camp.
Yeah,
So
okay.
if
They
you
put it on
wanna
the only-
stand on that side, see it, cause I've never
Yeah, we
seen
see
it or
it.
heard of it.
You're on the left side.
We're on the good side.
But now the door's open, and even some of us, it's been there
for
out there to
years.
try to shut the door, but it's broken, it won't shut.
It-
So
yeah,
we're
we called
exercising,
them
and we
this
see the
morning.
portage on like this with the door.
They put it on the only hill.
Someone hanging out of it.
It's funny, but.
I did
it's like,
have a
where did they fix
suggestion, that somebody brought to me just as a possible, improvement, and I don't think it's too much, you know, the senior center, they put in the water station by the drinking fountain.
Oh,
to
you
fill our
only
water
fills your
bottles.
bottle, you put it underneath and
Yeah.
fills it?
They would like one here. That was just a suggestion, again,
True, cause everybody did
By the
use
drinking
that
fountain.
there.
Done deal.
Yeah.
That's easy.
That's an easy
well,
fix.
you asked for suggestions,
Yeah,
and I
bring-
mean,
keep bringing
That's an
them.
easy fix.
So when the water filling station goes in, other people will say, oh, because you're gonna need to
I know.
hydrate.
Making them
In
comfy.
2026, you're gonna need to hydrate, so you gotta,
It was, again, it was, somebody brought it to me, you know, they liked it
It's
at
an
the
easy
other
fix.
building.
yeah. No, those are easy
That's
fixes.
an easy fix.
And I think the plumber is still here doing plumbing, that's just another ad, that's no big deal.
Yeah,
No,
look
what
into
they're
that
gonna
for sure.
say is, see, I told you they're not gonna take us back.
That's what they were
giving
gonna
us.
say.
They're gonna say
Yeah.
that no matter what.
Yeah.
See, another sign that we're staying.
That's all I got.
The last thing that we were gonna talk about, unless anyone was good with that, time frame of meetings. I know it was part of the discussion to switch them to afternoons or evenings. Does that make a difference to anybody's schedule? Do we
No.
want
No, we're
afternoon
retired.
schedules, or? You're all retired?
Whatever works.
For you all
What-
to do
what-
an afternoon session?
Afternoon
rather than an
meetings or-
evening?
Yeah, no,
'Cause
I
I know
was.
we talked about it briefly at the
Yeah, I
previous
didn't know what the
meeting, I just wanna
discussion
make
is.
sure.
To be honest with
It's gotta be
you.
evening for you, 'cause you're
Yeah,
still working.
I'd have to take personal time, and I would really kind of complicate
I
my.
couldn't do afternoons, cause between watching my granddaughters sometimes,
Sure,
others.
alright, 6 o'clock it'll stay.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's
with
fine.
me, yes.
Good with that? Our
Thank
next
you.
meeting is on September 16th, 6 o'clock, same place.
One month.
And then also, because it's tomorrow,
Why not?
registration opens, so make sure you grab a book if you don't have one already.
Just on a side note,
I
any
have my
more,
list
if
to
anybody has any more suggestions or wants, don't wait for the meeting to bring them.
Certainly, yeah.
Just
Michelle,
what she
Matt.
brought to me the other day, and I'll give them to Michelle.
And literally, if the plumber's here doing one thing, that's just an add-on, we just tell them, and I'm sure that I can
And that's a
accommodate
good
it.
point for any of it, you know,
Yeah.
if there's a big blow up about an article that came out and you're like, whoa, they're taking over, they're not gonna do the parking lot. You can bring that to us at any time, or anyone on the board, I'm speaking for you if you
You
don't
can
mind.
text me.
They're
email
available
me,
to hear
I'll-
that
I'll
ahead of time,
happily-
ahead of the
Send me an
meeting, so
email.
that it doesn't have to become a
Check.
big unknown, it's more answers, you know.
If you have a specific question like
Yeah.
that, you can text me, I will text you back, and you can just show them, like, this is what he
Here's the
said.
fact.
Ken was doing it in the parking lot right before he even left.
Well, if you go online, Josh has a design for the parking lot, and I think it's in the package, I just can't open it up on
Probably
my
in the
phone.
board
Oh,
packet,
See,
yeah.
I looked for that in the agenda package, and
Okay.
the,
Or
was
maybe
no
he's putting it
map.
on the screen.
There wasn't?
Yeah.
No,
Okay, he may have sent it as a board screen to
It's-
put up on the screen.
Yeah.
it said map, but it didn't have it attached, I
Okay.
looked earlier today.
Could you give me your, maybe,
He did,
maybe your.
586 212 3148.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Saved
I got
it on speed dial.
And you can text me, you know, again, if it's during the day, I gotta wait until I take a lunch break or, you know, I really have to be mindful of like county, I work for the county and I can't do anything for the township while I'm collecting a paycheck at the county, so I do try to compartmentalize that and I will respond, but it may be during lunch or right after work.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.